Every morning at exactly 8:10, Edith Wren stepped off the number 18 bus and made her way down the narrow cobbled path to Willowbrook Care Home in Shrewsbury. The hedgerows were always damp with dew, and the scent of earth and early roses followed her like a faint perfume. In her gloved hands, she carried a small paper bag. Inside, a flask of Earl Grey, brewed just how he liked it, and 2 shortbread biscuits wrapped in wax paper. It was a quiet ritual, this walk. One she had done for nearly 8 months, every day, without fail. The reception nurse, Miriam, gave her a warm nod as she signed her name into the logbook. "Morning, Mrs. Wren. He's been calm today." "Quiet, but calm," she said gently. Edith gave a soft smile, though her heart always clenched when she heard those words. Quiet meant he hadn't said much. Or worse, hadn't said anything at all. She walked down the cream-colored corridor, its walls dotted with paintings of sunflowers and sailboats, until she reached room 12. She knocked, though she never needed to. Slowly, she pushed the door open. Douglas Wren sat in the armchair by the window. His grey cardigan was buttoned unevenly, and his hands trembled slightly as he tried to thread a shoelace through his fingers. His hair, once thick and chestnut brown, was now white and thin, combed neatly to one side. "Good morning, my darling," Edith said softly, placing the tea on the small table beside him. Douglas turned his head, blinking as if adjusting to light. His pale blue eyes settled on her face, blank at first. Then a flicker, something like confusion, passed through them. "Are you the nurse?" he asked. Edith paused, her heart catching ever so slightly. "No, Doug. It's me. Edith." He stared for a moment longer, then nodded slowly, unsure. "Edith. Right. You come here often, do you?" She smiled, swallowing the ache that threatened to rise in her throat. "Every day." They sat together in silence for a while. She handed him the tea, guiding his fingers around the warm mug. Outside, the sky over Shrewsbury was a soft, milky grey. A robin landed on the sill, chirping once before flitting away. "Do you remember our garden? The hydrangeas near the shed?" she asked gently. Douglas didn't reply. Edith reached into her bag and pulled out an old photo, a black and white snapshot from 1976. He was laughing, shirt sleeves rolled up, holding a trowel. She, beside him, sun hat crooked, laughing too. He squinted at it. "Looks like a nice place," he murmured. "It was," she said, folding the photo and placing it in his lap. "It still is. Our Florence's been tending it since you came here." At the mention of Florence, their daughter, he looked up sharply. "Who's Florence?" Edith closed her eyes briefly. "Our daughter, love. She's 38 now. Married last spring, remember?" But Douglas only looked away, lips twitching faintly, lost in another thread of memory. Suddenly, he whispered, "I think I was married once." Edith's hand reached for his, gently wrapping her fingers around his. He didn't resist. "You still are, Douglas." And so they sat, hand in hand, with the photo between them and the scent of Earl Grey warming the air. Outside, the robin returned, this time staying a little longer. The days at Willowbrook moved slowly, like the gentle current of the River Severn just beyond the town's edge. Edith found herself learning to read the silences between Douglas's words. Sometimes, he was lucid and warm, remembering tiny details, the color of her scarf, the name of their favorite cafe in town, the taste of freshly baked scones. Other times, he seemed lost in a fog, staring blankly through the window, unaware of where he was or who she was. One afternoon, as rain drizzled softly outside, Edith sat beside Douglas, holding his hand while he looked at a faded scrapbook filled with family photographs. Their wedding day smiled back at them from a yellowed page. Edith traced the edges of the photo with a trembling finger. "Do you remember this day?" she asked quietly. Douglas's eyes welled up. You look beautiful, Edith. I wish I could remember everything, he said, voice cracking. Edith squeezed his hand. It's all right. I remember enough for both of us. Just then, a nurse peeked in. Time for your physiotherapy, Douglas, she said kindly. He sighed, reluctantly letting go of Edith's hand as he stood unsteadily. Edith watched him struggle to take a few steps, each one shaky and uncertain. A pang of sorrow settled deep in her chest. Later, as Douglas rested, Edith sat in the quiet garden. The flowers swayed in the breeze, and she thought of the life they had shared. The laughter, the tears, the promises whispered under the stars. Her daughter Lily was due to visit next week. Edith hoped the visit might bring some brightness to Douglas's dimming world. But there was a growing distance between mother and daughter, a chasm Edith could not yet cross. The morning Lily arrived, the sun broke through a patchy sky, casting gentle light over the town of Shrewsbury. Edith waited in the lounge of Willowbrook, nervously straightening her scarf. Her daughter had changed so much, grown confident, with a sharp wit and a guarded smile. But there was a coldness in Lily's eyes she hadn't seen before. When Lily entered room 12, Douglas looked up, his eyes flickering briefly with recognition. Lily, he whispered, voice trembling. Lily nodded stiffly. Hello, Dad. The reunion was awkward. Lily sat by the window, fiddling with her phone, while Edith poured tea quietly. Douglas tried to start conversations, about holidays long past, about family dinners, but Lily's answers were brief, clipped. I don't see why I have to come here so often, Lily said suddenly. He barely remembers me, and it's exhausting. Edith's heart sank. She had hoped for warmth, not this cold distance. Later that evening, Edith found herself alone with Douglas in the dim light of the lounge. He reached out, taking her hand. I'm sorry, he murmured, eyes filled with sorrow. I forget everything. But I know I love you. Edith smiled through tears. That's all that matters. But as night fell, she knew their lives had changed forever. Days passed slowly at Willowbrook. Edith noticed subtle changes in Douglas, moments of clarity punctuated by confusion. One afternoon, while helping him sort through old letters, Edith found an envelope marked with a familiar handwriting she hadn't seen in years. It was from Lily, but the letter was different, cold, distant, almost accusing. She read the words carefully. You never told me the truth about Dad's past. Why did you hide his illness from me? Why did you let me grow up thinking he abandoned us? Edith's heart ached. The wounds between them ran deeper than she had imagined. She realized the silence, the unspoken stories, had built walls of misunderstanding. That evening, Edith decided it was time to confront the past. She dialed Lily's number, hands trembling. Lily, we need to talk, she said quietly. There was a long pause. Then, a hesitant reply, I'm listening. The phone call between Edith and Lily stretched on for hours, a fragile thread trying to mend years of silence and misunderstanding. At first, their words stumbled, awkward, defensive, full of pain. But slowly, as memories unfolded and truths were shared, the walls began to crumble. Lily confessed how hurt she had felt growing up, believing her father had abandoned them without explanation. I was angry for so long, she admitted, voice trembling. I thought you didn't want me to know the truth, that you kept me away. Edith explained the difficult choices she had made, the promises to Douglas to protect his pride, the fear of shattering Lily's image of her father. I wanted to shield you from pain, Edith said softly. But maybe I only delayed the hurt. They talked about Douglas's illness, the gradual changes, and how everyone had struggled in their own way. Edith shared moments of hope and despair, while Lily revealed her own fears of losing the man she barely remembered. As dawn approached, their conversations softened into memories of happier times, family holidays by the coast, laughter echoing in the kitchen, small acts of kindness that lingered in their hearts. By the end of the call, there were no promises to erase the past overnight, but a shared understanding began to bloom. Both mother and daughter felt a flicker of hope, that perhaps, together, they could face the days ahead with more love and less pain. The days that followed the phone call felt lighter for Edith. She noticed a subtle change in herself, a quiet hopefulness that had been buried beneath years of worry and regret. Determined to build bridges, Edith reached out again to Lily, suggesting a visit to the coast where they had once spent happy summers. When Lily agreed, Edith felt a cautious excitement. The reunion was tentative but filled with small gestures, shared smiles, soft glances, and conversations that dipped into both past and present. Walking along the cliffs overlooking the sea, they talked about Douglas, about forgiveness, and about the future neither had dared to imagine before. Douglas's condition remained fragile, but Edith saw something new in Lily, a willingness to embrace her father's fading moments with compassion, even amid the pain. She herself felt strength in their growing bond, a promise that family could be more than shared history, it could be a choice made every day. As the sun set over the horizon, casting golden light on the waves, Edith allowed herself to believe that healing was possible, not perfect, but real. The weeks unfolded with a gentle rhythm. Edith, Lily, and Douglas shared moments that felt both precious and fleeting. The family dinners, once filled with silence and tension, now carried soft laughter and quiet understanding. Yet beneath the surface, the shadows of the past lingered. Douglas's health fluctuated, his memory fading further with each day. Edith and Lily found themselves caught between hope and grief, unsure how to hold on to the present while preparing for loss. One rainy afternoon, as Douglas rested in his chair by the window, Lily spoke softly. "Mum, I don't want to lose him, but I'm scared of what comes after." Edith reached out, squeezing her daughter's hand. "We'll face it together. Whatever happens, we have each other." In that fragile peace, they found strength, a delicate balance between remembering and letting go, between sorrow and love. Douglas passed away quietly one morning, with Edith and Lily by his side. The house felt emptier, yet somehow lighter, as if the weight of years had finally lifted. In the days that followed, Edith and Lily found themselves drawing closer, their shared grief knitting a bond stronger than before. They sorted through Douglas's belongings, sharing stories and laughter amid tears. Edith realized that while the past could not be changed, the future was theirs to shape. Together, they made plans to honor Douglas's memory by supporting others facing similar struggles. Standing on the cliffs where they had reunited, Edith looked at Lily and smiled. "This is a new beginning for us." Lily nodded, hope shining in her eyes. "Yes, together." And in that moment, amidst the sea breeze and endless sky, they found peace, not in forgetting, but in remembering with love.